The controls are going to be shown on the bottom right of the game. They are my input display. There's me, and my splits on the top left. They are going to show as I go through the game, and that should be this. And that should be gone. All gone. So this is going to be a hour and a half-ish speed run once you get acclimated with it. It's I'm going to take a lot longer when I do this tutorial. But so when you start up, this is based on SDA timing. More than likely, the nomovies code is going to go before, like, we haven't started up the video on that note yet, but, like, the timing hasn't been established, I should say. But SDA timing will likely start after you type in the nomovies code. So the nomovies code is a code that skips 30 minutes of cutscenes. It will, after the first cutscene, I will type it in the in-game pause menu. I will just type in nomovies without any spaces. But yeah, as for it's obviously a really old game. For setting up the game, I have a tutorial on speedrun.com. For the Rayman 2 page, you'll see it in guides how to set the game up for speedrunning. It's a bit convoluted, so I suggest going on there first and foremost. But anyway, so let's get acclimated with our controls. Obviously, analog stick is walking around. I have my skipping button, which I believe is enter, mapped to clicking my analog stick. Obviously, jump. There's the shoot button. And then, as you can see, you can break the camera here. Also, it is strafe, but I can't really help that. This is also like all of them. When I put on the input, the D-input thing that I found on the internet, it just maps all of these trigger buttons, except for this one, which is the look button. This button's also going to be swimming down, I believe. The L button. And if you hit the side buttons here, the D-pad buttons, or not the D-pad button, the face buttons, there you go. It'll turn the camera on for you. That's actually going to be somewhat important. Then there's a lag button as well. We're only going to use this one time in the run, but you might use it too, depending on something you do. It's actually a screenshot button. And yeah, these are all the controls. This is cutting in. It doesn't just move you around like this one does. This one literally cuts it, and that's going to be important to breaking the camera in certain sections. But for now, let's move on. So jumping in these slide sections is faster. Generally, you will pair it with strafe, the strafe button, so that you could always move forward. Wait. Oh, I forgot to type in nomovies. Well, this is what happens when you forget to type in nomovies, guys. You get unskippable cutscenes. Don't worry. Next run, we'll show the cutscene off. So, to explain how to do nomovies, like I said earlier, in one moment. So, I'll just go into this in-game menu here. nomovies. And you'll hear this clapping sound whenever you put in a cheat code. It's standard for all of them. but obviously that'll make sure that you hit the right button. So right here, you want to just hit it twice. This Murphy right here can move your camera really strangely, so you have to be prepared. You generally want to hit it, and then, like, be right here when the last hit goes. Because it'll move you, like, if you're in a spot like over here, it's going to move you over here. It could also turn around the other way. So you just want to do it in a quick movement. Once you hit this lum, it's actually an incredibly small lum. Like, hitbox-wise compared to the rest of the game. You're just going to hit it and go down, obviously. Just kind of walk beeline towards this lum here. You need all the lums in this level specifically. There are actually going to be 5 lum doors in this game that are required to getting over the end of the game. So the first lum door is going to be this one right here, where you get your 5 lums. You get your 5 lums here. The second one is going to be at water and ice. Okay, so with no movies, normally with baby skip, you want to go like this and just skip over it. But in reality, with the cutscene skips, you just will actually want to go inside of it, because it takes you pretty far away from the babies. And then you're just gonna move on. But yeah, and then after that, the Stone and Fire will be 300 lums. Alright, so this is skipping the cutscene right here. You just hit the button and it goes. The fourth one is Rock and Lava. That's 475 lums. And then Iron Mountains is like 2 levels out. And that's 550 lums. And that's the last one. I actually want to show something off here, so I'm going to go back through. So, I'm actually holding the jump and shoot button here, and it juts you out really far off of this portal. That's important, because in almost every case, it is faster to do that, except for very few. Alright, so this game starts off with a pretty tough air swim. It's not the hardest, but it's very inconsistent. I'm going to try to angle this so that this corner is kind of like the same as where I'm facing towards. And I want to make sure that right when you see my feet meeting the, like, kind of like... Let's see if I can get this. Right here. Like, you can see that these, that my feet are kind of like now just passing the line that the corner meets at on the sides of it. Right when it passes that, you're gonna hold forward into this. You don't want to be too far away, because if you're too far away, you'll see right here, you just kind of grab it. And if you're just kind of too close, no, oh crap, it worked. See, there's the air swim. It kind of like, you want to be down below, but you also want to be really high. Going up here, like, you can see that I have an air swim meter here. And this game is very glitchy occasionally. Like, there's a lot of weird stuff going on. For example, this sun is, like, solid. It didn't actually kill me. That was the air meter. So I'm just gonna show it off again. Just kind of be kind of close to this and hold forward at a certain point when it's just meeting. But if you're too close, you see there, kind of like breaks it up. Yeah, this is what I mean by inconsistent. I've taken the liberty to kind of like move to the side occasionally, if I don't feel like it's working properly. Change my angle a tiny bit, maybe. Just kind of get a feel for what works best. And so at this point, you'll want to go up, directly upwards, and you want to pass from underneath the red glowing sun that's small, and to the right side of the glowing sun that is big. So here we go. Just kind of pass through this piece right here and move on. This will just take you directly to the end of this stage. It saves a lot of time. Yeah, and then coming through here, it's pretty standard. You're not going to see much from here on. But, you know, just kind of make sure that you go up this as cleanly as you can. So, coming up is a slide. You're going to try to jump on this slide, because jumping is faster. And jump at the last second, so you get a lot of movement speed here. Yeah, you just want to kind of like pass through that area, because just doing those vines normally is kind of slow. So you can skip this cutscene only after it's like zooming into his face, like right there, and then you can move on. Just kind of wait for him to hit again. The barrel aims at you, so you always want to be right on the broken metal band-aid. So for this section, I'm not great at it, but you can just kind of like barrel your way through, am I right? But sometimes it'll do that, so I generally would suggest, you know, still trying to avoid it. Trying to avoid them. So apparently you can skip a lot of the extra, more difficult Murphy scenes like this one. I've never done it before, though. So... This guy can give you like a couple different RNGs, but generally you just want to aim to the side. For this guy right here, you can actually just toss the keg at him, and that's kind of pretty easy. So for this right here, you can actually aim towards this. You can kind of do it kind of quick-like. Just kind of jump up here and jump and hit it down there. That would have worked if I had hit it earlier. And so you're just going to jump and hit this switch and then move on. The guy shouldn't be of any consequence. If you're on analog, this part will be really easy, but if you're on D-pad, then those lasers right there, you'll have to use like the camera moving around mode like this to get a decent angle. So I'm going to grab this, I'm going to throw it up and hit the thing, the bomb. And then right when my body meets the orange-brown plank, just throw it. If you let the cannonball be too far on screen, the auto-aim on the barrel won't work properly, so you want to make sure to do it as early as possible. You can actually see the exact places that you can throw these barrels on the tutorial for the Google Doc in the Rayman Discord, the Rayman speedrunning Discord, which you can also find on the speedrun.com site. So for this last hit in No Movies, when you throw it, you don't want to immediately skip this cutscene. You actually want to wait until you see Rayman running towards Batilla coming up right here. I mean, Lee. So, skip it right here. Otherwise, you won't be in the right spot when you're done with the cutscene skip. You'll actually be in front of the machine. And that's slightly slower. Yeah, now you have the power to grab rings. You just kind of move on. This chasm, you're just going to kind of drop down the side here. And try to move towards hitting this. So, with these kind of boxes, with these lums, they kind of have a certain, like, range for when they will, like, home in on you. And generally, this range is slightly bigger when you first hit those cages, so you kind of want to be close. They're all kind of dependent on each other. I also just glossed over it, but I jumped over it and a Murphy cutscene there. Just want to make sure to avoid that Murphy cutscene down below before you just kind of jump over it and make sure that you get the wind current early. That wind over there is superfluous. You just want to kind of go over to this one. The general rule for lums is that if it takes longer than 2 seconds to grab extra, it's not worth it. So you just want to make sure to get the lums that are in the way. Like these ones don't take that long to grab. This one over here is also superfluous. You want to go for this one on the right here. Also, I might not even make it. Oh, yeah, I'm good. Okay. So then there's a lum off screen here that you can grab. And you just break the camera here and open this cage. So if you actually go off screen here, you'll notice that the teensy won't start walking towards you. Like, as you can see, the teensy is no longer moving. You actually want to at least have him on screen. Otherwise, he won't show up when you turn around. That's just something to avoid. So we got 14. Now for the marshes. So to the left in this area is the Cave of Bad Dreams, but we can't go there yet. If you've ever, played the game, you would know. So I'm gonna do a high jump and then a soft tap to make it over to this. That kind of skips all the lily pads. An important mechanic in this game is actually doing a light hover here. As you can see, I'm doing a very light tap, and that gives you a little bit of height, and it gives you a soft drop. But if I do a hard tap, it kind of drops you really quick, and that's not very beneficial in most cases. You often want to get the soft drop. So you'll see me doing soft taps on getting the extra hover. So it's an important note for this auto scroll is that you want to hold down strafe the whole time, if possible, because it is faster movement to be holding down strafe and hanging low like this. This actually spawns a bunch of tings. You don't want to miss any tings, by the way. This tutorial is going to show off all the extra tings that we get in case you miss some. So you just want to make sure to get all 3 of these on the way around. It loops around 3 times, so you have a lot of chances. Make sure to be holding straight before this cutscene if you need to. Because if you hold straight for too long and you can't move your D-pad at all, like it's not changing, it doesn't let you move around. So you actually want to let go of it occasionally to make sure something like this doesn't happen. That can happen on the previous screen. You want to be prepared, because in some cases, holding strafe too long will make you veer too far away from him, and you'll die. Especially on that roundabout in the previous screen. He does much tighter turns than you're grabbing. Move away from this piranha specifically, because that piranha will kill you. That's something you'll learn. And then, yeah, move on. It takes a bit of getting used to for that auto-scroller. But sooner or later, you'll never have problems and you'll never miss any of the lums there. We have 49. You generally don't want to get 50 in any level that you are going through the end of a portal in. This is... in normal any percent, that's the only cutscene you can skip. You can actually skip it slightly faster in normal any percent for some reason than with the cutscene code, but yeah. So I'm gonna do a soft tap to grab the side of this ledge here. Just kind of move over to it, and it'll give it to you. So this coming up is the third most annoying switch, like right after this climbing segment. It's the only switch in the game that has no lock-on, so you just kind of have to aim right. Just gotta aim it in the right spot and hit it. You'll notice that I spam hover and jump a lot. It's slightly faster movement in the air, but it'll make you move down faster, so in some cases it's not beneficial. Break the camera, right, like turn the camera right there to make sure that you hit that that purple ring early. Ooh, that hurt. You're gonna wanna hover over here and grab this cage. Hit it twice. Every cage takes 2 hits unless you have a big power fist, and then it'll only be once. Cages in this game are important. On PC, they only give you lums. Very rarely they'll give you red lums, but they're not like random or anything, so you shouldn't have any problems with it. Ooh, I missed that. I wanted the camera to turn earlier. Something to note about about this game, there are a lot of times where things will not respond to you if they're not on camera. So you want to generally, like, you'll know on a case-by-case basis which ones you can and can't hit without it being on screen. But generally you want cages to be on screen or they won't get hurt. I'm going to get purposely hurt here after it shoots out because these guys don't shoot. These guys don't shoot when you have iframes from getting hurt. They will not attack you. So the thing about those robots is they actually queue up them getting hit after they do their attacks. So they won't actually get hurt until they're done with their own animations. So that's why you would want to get hurt, so that they don't attack you, and therefore your hits get queued up immediately. That's generally useful for 2 hits. If you hold down the camera brake button there, you'll get forward camera in that moving, swinging pendulum part. Otherwise, it'll look backwards. So I jump at a specific point to hit this off-screen cage, and you just kind of want to spam it until then. Make sure this lum comes towards you. I kind of did this slow. I wanted it to come towards me immediately so that I can race this teensy that I broke. Like, this teensy was what came out of the cage there. And then we, just move on. So the next level is water and ice. This is going to be the second air swim in the game. We're going to hold A and B right here. And I'm going to hold strafe and just kind of go to the side. Because then he just kind of does a better pattern. Something to know about these robot pirates is that they kind of move dependent on your movement. Like to the pixels, to the frame. So you often want to do like... They often change very minutely. So, you're gonna see here, this little black dot on the wall here, I'm gonna hold, kind of like, be aiming really high up, swimming upwards, and then I'm gonna aim down on it, and I'm gonna try to, you want to make sure that you throw a lum out, like how you have the lum thing right here. Now, right next, when you get out of bounds here, there's actually, a sort of spot where you can just get killed by water. There's an off-screen plane there. So you want to wait, once you get out of bounds, you want to make sure to wait a little, like half a second before you start swimming upwards. So here we go again. It'll also, if you do it too early as well, you might also end up, hitting that early plane, and then it'll jump for you. So I'm just gonna show that off as well really quick here, if I can get it one time. So you can see here I'm kind of stuck on the side of the plane, so I'm gonna move forward a little bit, and I'm gonna go, as you can see, that's the death plane. It's a little bit ahead, so you just want to make sure to avoid that death plane. You want to just keep swimming forward. You don't want to be stuck on anything. So you just wait for a little bit before you swim upwards. Swimming upwards is a requirement, by the way, because otherwise you're going to hit a deadly water plane a little bit further up ahead. But if you go too high, you'll also get soft locked inside of, right above me here. Like, if you go a little bit higher up, you're going to be stuck inside this area with this orb. So you want to avoid this as well. And then eventually you'll die out of there. So now I'm going to show off what it should properly look like. Another important thing to note is that when you're coming back into a plane from the side, from the below it, like the floor, you kind of want to have like a certain kind of angle, like you want to be going like this. You want to be kind of light tapping it, and then the second that you hit the out of bounds, the inbounds, you want to just start holding up. So here we go. I'm going to show it off here. That's the death plane right below me, by the way. So I'm just going to do light taps, and it'll do that super boost there. I'm going to grab all the lums in this area, because they're important. Just go around the bend. If you feel like you're running out of air, you can obviously dip out early and get some other lums. You'll have to compensate. So jumping here, obviously, as I've said, faster. You're going to face towards the right. Over here. All the movement here is important, so I suggest watching the input display for this part. It's very important to making sure these slides don't completely mess you up. Oops, that was a bit off, though. So here's Axel. Alright, so here's Axel. Now, I'm going to show off two different ways to do this. There's a beginner way and a really hard way. I'm going to show off the easy way first. Or no, the hard way first. So, here we are. I'm just going to make sure to... There's actually a lot to this. I should probably explain this a little bit better. So I'm going to wait. I'm going to stand in front right about here. I'm going to make sure that I see the, I'm going to make sure that I see the waterfall before I start jumping towards getting this purple ring here. So I jump forward, hover up, I turn around, break the camera, turn back around, and I make sure to do these light taps all the way up. But I kind of messed it up. Let's try that again. I do one small hover there to avoid the icicle that's kind of running towards you. You don't want Axel to be in your way, and you want to make sure to jump the second that the slide that you hit the slide, because otherwise you're going to lose a lot of momentum that you're going to be doing from these backwards jumps. Here we go. And that will take you all the way over, skipping Axel here. You have to make sure that your angle is facing directly behind you. Like, you want to be facing... You want to be facing like this up the slide. Because if you're facing like this way, your momentum's going to slowly get lost. Anyway, now I'm going to show you the normal way to do it. You only save 10 seconds by doing this. Doing Axel skip. So you just want to... Actually, that's not the right way. My bad. Hold on. Also, I just did a cheat. My bad. I'm sorry. It's fine. For the tutorial, anyway. Wait, no, that's not it. Heck. Just showing how to do this normally. Just normal Axel right here. Watch. Just hit that. Hit that. Face to the left so that icicle doesn't hit you. The other ones shouldn't even be in your way, and then you just hit the icicle, and that's it. And you just move on. And then you just skip these 2 cutscenes. Easy. You should end the level with 36. So now we have Menor Hills. So I'm gonna I'm only gonna show off one thing in Menor Hills. There's gonna be a couple things that we're gonna be doing in the revisits. But one important thing in this game is that cutscenes, like in-game cutscenes, will be triggered if you go out of bounds for most levels in the game. We're gonna grab these 2 lums, kill off these guys. You just kind of want to kill them off simultaneously. Which I didn't do very properly, but anyway. Just hit this cage, move on. You need those lums. Lums are important. We need 300 for the next lum door. If you jump right before the outline on that plank that I jumped before, you will avoid having a cutscene and you'll save like a second. So anyway, here's our little good friend, the walking shell. We're actually going to make sure that we go out of bounds with him. Like so. Like that. Now, I want to like show it off again because I didn't properly show it off, but see, this blue right here is where you want to start, like, stopping. Because he follows you. The walking shell follows you. And on top of that, right at the outwards of this blue right here is where you're going to want to... is where he gets triggered. And you just kind of go this way. Grab the lum here. Look around. Make sure that the walking shell's still following you. Go towards this. And then when you're doing this, you just want to jump over him. Because he's going to be banging on this wall here. Jump over him, and if you do it right, he will face towards this wall. And you can just fly up the top of the wall. And we're going to do a cutscene skip by making it accelerate. The acceleration button for the robot, the walking shell. And then you're just going to jump while holding up at a certain point, and you'll see that point when I do it right here. So let's try it again. Alright, now he's properly queued up. Hold up, and actually strafe. I hold strafe as well. And then that just ends up bringing you over to, Clark's cutscene, and then you can just skip it. You can't do that on the revisit because we need the lums that come from the walking shell section, but it saves a lot of time to do it the first time. And if you fail it, you could always just do it on the do the walking shell segment on the non-revisit, and then do it on the revisit. This part of the game is really flexible with how you do the lums, so you be wary of it. So here we have a small 1-second save. I'm actually gonna make this golden thing make Rayman go the other way, and I'm gonna go towards this, and that saves him going on a bunch of lily pads. Because, actually, a couple things about the world map. Hold on. Oops. Whether or not you can actually go into the next level is based entirely on whether or not the gold lum is going towards it, not if it's exactly standing on top of it. And Rayman also has to have his feet on the ground walking to be able to jump into a portal. Alright, so just make sure that you just move forward here. This is going to be mostly movement until the end of this section. Just hold down the jump button and you'll make all these platforms. Light tap. Grab that lum by jumping on the way up. Light tap to make sure you don't grab that. Hit that guy because those things can take you in and death warp you. That lum on the right is really slow, so don't get it. As you can see, spamming the jump button to climb is slightly faster than walking normally. Full jump here should make it if you had good movement prior. I wait a little bit to hit that one because he can come out early. Wall climbing, just want to hit it 3 times. So you don't necessarily have to do this orb skip here with these guys alive, but it's much easier to just kill them off. If they're far away, the fire will not bother you, but if they're close up, they'll definitely bother you, so it's easier to just kill them off. So there are 2 ways you can do orb skip. I actually don't understand how to do it from this side, so I'm only going to do it from this side. I'm going to show off this side. Basically, I'm grabbing the side. I actually use the D-pad for this. I kind of do a light jump, and right there, I'm gonna hold down and forward and down. I mean left and down. Like right over the corner. And I break the camera there, and I can make it down. Well, if I didn't accidentally jump. But yeah. If you do it wrong, it's kind of likely to jut you. But yeah, you just gotta get a feel for this clip. This clip is pretty difficult to get consistent. There you go. You just kind of like let it walk off you. And you're gonna aim for this over here. Just kind of make sure that you see my input display to make sure you're not doing anything wrong while you're out of bounds. So there's a cutscene here that's slightly faster to just hold the zoom button there than to skip it. Just make sure that you get these lums on the slide. That's your main objective, is to make sure these spikes don't hit you and make sure that you continue down the slide quickly as you can and getting these 5 lummers. So for the next level, next screen, when we fight Jano, there's actually 2 ways to do it. One is really, really difficult to properly do consistently, and then there's another way, which is just doing Jano normally. I'm gonna show off Jano skip first, just to because doing the fight normally has a lot of green lumps. So first, I'm gonna die. That's important because if you do this skip and it works on your first non-death, it's gonna mess up your camera and you're not gonna get it properly. These skeleton platforms here, you want to grab them on the last frame they exist. The last 2 frames they exist. Otherwise, it will not work, so... That didn't work, as you can see. I failed. This might even take a while to show off once, so bear with me here. I'm more or less trying to make sure I have a sort of visual cue. You always want to also be kind of like, not have the camera facing... There you go, this is it. And this will take you over to the end. You're just going to try to go towards the end from here. But yeah, you always want to be... Like, when you're grabbing those skeleton platforms, you always want to be... have the camera facing towards Jano. Like, you want to be grabbing toward, like, facing towards Jano there. Otherwise, you're very likely to get knocked off by the skeleton platform moving around. You just kind of hover your way over. And this skips the whole fight. It takes you right over here. You don't want to fall down too fast, because there is a death plane directly below you in the spot that you hover, so you just kind of want to move forward there a little bit. Like, just kind of drop down every now and then to make sure you don't hit that plane. So now I'm going to show you the fight normally. I suggest this for anybody who isn't going for world record, because Jano skip can really, like, make or break your day. Make or break your run. So you're just going to hit this guy right here. Hit this guy right here. And you're going to try to get Jano to move over. I actually hit it too early, the second skull. A little too late. You want to hit it a little earlier than that, I guess. It's been a while since I did this, so my bad. Hit it. You don't... The thing that you're aiming for is to avoid hitting this green lump here. You don't want to grab this green lump. And you also want Jano to go over there. So if you end up not making it over here, just hover towards here and just kind of be towards the pillar if he hits you off and you don't make it. Because you'll have the green lump still, and he'll have jumped over there. And that will still work out, even if it's slightly slower. So you don't think like all hope is lost. I'm just gonna drop into the pit, because if he jumps over towards that pillar, then you've already kind of technically checkpointed. Yeah, you just keep moving on. So you can make it over to that pillar on the right with only one skeleton platform. Normally you would use 2. Because he'll throw out 2 of them. So here we just hit it and move forward over here. Make sure he's not like doing anything like while you're in the you never want him to throw the fire when he's when you're in the middle of helicoptering, or else you'll fall in the pit and die. And yeah, this is the last leg here. One thing to note about Jano skip is you saw that when fighting Jano normally, there's a 5 lump during his fight. If you do Jano skip, you're gonna need to substitute that 5 lump for something else. Generally, you'll get the one in Menor Hills. There's actually 2 sets of 5 lumps that you can get in Menor Hills. I will show both of them off. The first set that you're going to see in the first screen... Oh, also, right here, cutscene skip, and you're just going to kind of walk into the wall, and it's going to teleport you over here. Yeah. Nothing to say. You might not necessarily die there, but you'll figure it out when it happens. So the first thing to notice is that I'm going to hit this switch with a rebound. I'm gonna make this guy run towards me, and then I'm gonna go into this pit. While I'm in here, he's gonna like, the game's gonna think he's still running, but he's not gonna move positions. So when I come back out, he'll be tired immediately. And he respawns, kind of. Even though he hasn't really despawned. You just kind of can go towards him. And you accelerate. Since we've already gotten this lum, you just kind of jump to the left. And it'll take you over. And yeah, this plank right here, just jump. Right there, it's slightly faster. So this is a very hard part to do right here, to get these yellow lums up here, as well as keeping this guy alive, because if you don't keep this guy alive while doing it, it's slightly slower than grabbing the one on the first screen, if you're not so low on lums that you need to get both. So I'm gonna try making it run towards me. I hover there, and it died. Yeah, this is gonna be tough. Let's see if I can get it soon. And you don't want it to hit the wall right over there. There you go. Ah! Anyway, you get the idea, right? I'm sorry. You don't want it to hit that wall. And then you can move on into this section. There's a couple points where you don't want to accelerate. And you'll see it when I do it here. The parts where I'm not going to accelerate. Otherwise, you're more than likely going to get killed by the collision. So right there, that's the first one. And then I'm going to accelerate here, but not over that bump. I don't know what a minnow is, actually. And then I'm going to throw a lum at that switch from the side. Move on. Hit this. Now, there's going to be this button on the floor I'm going to use as a visual cue. Like, right ahead of the button, you can jump and grab that lum. Grab this lum. And then go over here. And that's really quick. If you use the strafe button, you can also hit this switch really early on, even though you're, like, below it. I couldn't get it because I was facing a different way, but yeah, it can work out. You want to keep this guy on screen because he can, like, for the same reasons why the walking shell didn't move positions even though he was alive, he cannot move positions if he's not on screen. So here, we're gonna trigger this guy, come over here, get this cage. This is a lot easier than the previous one to make sure that it works properly, and we're gonna just accelerate. This pillar right here in the middle actually has like some sort of gravity that pulls you. Just be wary of that. Just grab all the lums. Make sure you're not doing anything too tough, and skip. If you start veering around a lot, you're likely to die. So here in the canopy, it's actually slower to hold a jump and shoot coming out of this portal. Now there's an easy, hard way to do this, which is just doing it normally without getting hit, but you're going to see that I'm going to grab this lum from being on the corner of that web. And I'm going to avoid the spider in general. The spider's actually so fast, he'll still catch up to me here. Ricocheting off of those, and you'll get those two lums. And then move on. Just keep going until you get all the lums in this circle. So this is an important skip here that you want to learn. It's very simple. You're going to see there's this ground right here, this greenish looking ground that's next to this leaf looking thing. I'm gonna stand right here. I'm gonna face towards this little crack right here, and I'm gonna throw it at the crack. And it should hit that switch if you're looking at it. That is as opposed to killing the robot over here, because otherwise it will not let you hit it. So that's a good way to make sure that you get that every time. So this is the part in the game where we're going to use the lag button that I told you about at the beginning of the game. So just going to grab this lum, come here, you're going to shoot forward, and you're going to hold the button going towards there, and it should break the pole. Don't try to get those lums on the side first. It's likely that the reason why we use the lag is to make sure that the camera doesn't move fast enough to hit this bandage. You want it to hit the bandage before it goes off screen, per se. And that's what the lag is for. You cannot make it over this fire, so just gotta wait for glow box, unfortunately. Unless you're on PS1. Alright. Now I get hit. Make sure that he doesn't, you know... We're gonna skip. So this part is an in-game cutscene, so it doesn't let you skip it until right here, where it's no longer an in-game cutscene. I'm just gonna make sure to charge up here. I charged up a little late, but you're just gonna throw it at him. Make sure not to move around too much, except the places shown here, because he can move around if you do any weird, like extra weird stuff, and then it'll waste you time. Hit the guy, die. There is a robot skip in here, but it's not beginner friendly, so I'm not gonna show it off. I'm also like, I've only gotten it once ever, so that's a better reason. Or actually twice, but never in a run, only in practice. So I'm gonna ditch Glowbox here. We don't need him. Normally he's gonna grow us a big bush that's gonna disguise us so we can pass the door coming up, but there's another way to do it. As you can see there, it kind of queued up a really late shot from me. Just kind of make sure to avoid getting hit. Just lose a little time. I usually... Hold on. I usually try to punch on the way up and then hit it and grab back, because that cage in particular can be extra picky with things hitting it. So I'm going to show off the way I do it. I jump up again, and then climb towards it. And that works. You need to make sure that when you fall down and it rolls, you get a good angle that makes it roll really fast towards the door. Otherwise, it won't work. Other than that, there's also using lag. Like this. And that works very easily. But it's slightly slower than getting it normal first try. Anyway, so we hit this teensy. We're actually going to open this door, go through, and then go back through, because that despawns the teensy and spawns the portal. You make it open up again by going towards it, towards the door. And yeah, that's it for that. Now we have Whale Bay. So this is a really, really difficult air swim, and it's important that you get the boost that I told you about in the previous air swim when coming out of the floor. There's actually two ways to do it, but I'm only particularly consistent at this one. I'm gonna jump up, go up here. The second that I see my nose hitting a little bit above this frame, I'm gonna try to go down. You'll notice that I'm also using, shooting out right before I land. That avoids an animation. You're gonna see, this is the animation that you would get normally. and it doesn't like let you move around much, and you'll lose oxygen during it. So to keep control of the character, I always shoot. And then try to pass through this very slightly. I would recommend checking the inputs for this as well, because I don't even have it consistent. But it's important that what I'm going to do to make sure that once you get out of bounds, you consistently make it to the end, because it's actually very precise making it towards the ending segment of this. So I break the camera here right to the right side of this. I'm going to run towards the ending. Make sure never to like move around a lot in this, by the way. Like going straight is the fastest form of movement with this air swim. If you're turning around and stuff, you're moving slow. So here we are. I'm gonna be facing the side of this wall while just kind of holding up. You should watch the inputs there. You can actually use the one on the right, on the left that I was using in the previous screen for the air swim. You can do that without the boost at all, but it's a lot easier obviously with the boost. The one on the right that I told you about earlier that I didn't do, you cannot do without a very, very well timed boost, because you're a lot further away. But you might find it more consistent. It's pretty similar, but I don't really remember how to do it that well. So you just kind of go towards the ending here. Just gotta go straight towards the ending. Now, you don't have to go as far down as I did. You kind of want to do light taps to make sure that you're going in a kind of straight movement. Because as I said, if you're not moving entirely straight, you're kind of moving real slow. You want to have smooth movement. But yeah, in general, when I'm boosting underneath those platforms, I recommend looking at the input display to see exactly how I do it. Now, for this part, sometimes occasionally you'll get a piranha that doesn't exist eat your thing, and then you can grab another one, but you only need 2 to get to the end of this part. And then the rest of them are kind of superfluous. Following Carmen is very slow. So just kind of do those light taps. There's 2 oxygens here that you want. Now it's important to note, right over this plank right here, that plank right there has a cutscene that you can skip. If you hit that cutscene, you can still move, but the camera's different and your movements are going to be different. So I'm just going to stand right here and jump over it and come to the side. And that'll pass that cutscene. Jumping here is faster. It's also faster than climbing up that ladder. Hit this. And generally, if you follow the route correctly, you should have, don't grab extras, you should have, up to around 303 lumps ending this section. I grabbed extras. I did Jano skip, but I also didn't. I also did the normal way to show that off as well. I also grabbed all of them, and I haven't really missed anything, so I'm actually going to have a lot of extra lumps here. Yeah, I have 312. That's an extra 10 sets. I grabbed an extra 2 sets of 5 lums, and I didn't miss anything yet, so... Well, I might have missed 1 lum somewhere, actually. Not sure where. Anyway. Moving on from here is Stone and Fire. This level is also particularly perilous. Hold down A and B, of course. Just a reminder. Holding down A and B in portals is fast. This is kind of self-explanatory. I actually want to hit this robot pirate in the air. They kind of get a height boost in falling down when they're in the air, and they don't really attack you in the air, so it's generally safer for them to be in the air if you can help it. You want to wait for that ring lum a little tiny bit before hitting it, because you'll get a really small tether. You don't really want a really small tether. If you move straight here towards this side, this guy will give you a decent pattern. You can just kind of... Ooh. My bad. I did jumped a little too late here, but anyway, I'm trying it again. So you just kind of go forward here. Jump over his hook. And you'll get a decent pattern for moving forward quickly. Doing other stuff, you'll probably get hit. Now, it's important to watch how I do this part. I don't do this 100% the fastest, but I do it pretty smoothly. So I'm just going to shoot it straight back this way. I'm going to look here. And I'm going to shoot here. You want to keep a lot of these black lums. You want to keep these black lums alive, because we're actually going to use it on the next screen. Well, I say next screen, but you want to keep them alive to make sure that you can use them for skipping the mini Jano that you have to fight in this next part coming up right here. So to just kind of avoid hitting these guys, you just kind of move out of their way. Hit the plum, knock yourself away. You need at least like 4 or 5 of them to do it properly. Generally, a good bet is that if you have 5, you're going to be consistent. But if you have like 4, it's going to be a little bit less consistent. But if you have 3, you're going to have a really, really hard time, and you're probably not going to get it. I think I have 5 right now from all the ones I've hit. I could be wrong. Yeah, I have actually a lot of them. Having 6 there is really good. So I hover here, and then I jump. You have to kind of get the timing down. I'm sorry, let me show that off. Like, you get hit here, hover, and then get hit again. And that should be the timing, the one that I got right there. I'm going to show it off one more time. Get hit high up, hover, and then get hit again. Get hit, hover, get hit again, get hit, hover. I'm doing it way too late. Hover, get hit again. There you go. You'll extrapolate something from that. You want to get hit high there, hover for a tiny bit, and then jump up again. And it should knock you up in a good way. Now, this next screen will, has an early Stone and Fire 2 strat that you could do on this pillar right in front of me. I'm not going to show that off because I'm not consistent at it. You know, but for now, I'm going to show you the plum way, which actually also gets an extra set of, it gets an extra set of lums here. There's like, in this early Stone and Fire 2 shot, you'll get like an extra 1 lum. In this, you'll get an extra 6. So this is also very friendly for beginners. You can actually avoid like going on all of these. You can actually do this. Make it over slightly faster. There's no point in doing it for this one here, because you can also get a lum here that's nice and easy. It doesn't save much time either. For this next part with these nettles, I want to make sure that the camera's kind of hugging the wall. I'm going to try my best to make it happen, but it's not very consistent. Yeah, I'm not getting the camera that I want here. So you just kind of make it go towards the end as quick as you can. There we go. This is the camera I wanted. Just kind of knock it forward. Yeah, that wasn't the best movement there. So one thing to note, this is what plum clip is. So you'll see here that I died in Stone and Fire 2. So I had to jump for this cutscene here into this like little slot right here. If you don't die, if you don't get killed early on, you don't have to do it. But you're gonna have to do it on the second try through. So always make sure to just check if you got, like, if you forget that if you hit this, because if you don't hit this cutscene here, when you do this clip I'm about to do, it's gonna get in your way, and it's also not gonna refresh, because like what I'm doing here is actually exhausting cutscenes. At best, you're only supposed to see 3 cutscenes. The one that you just saw would be the second cutscene you would see if you did this optimally. The one I'm about to do right here. Make sure when you do this, not to hover. On the first one, here, do not hover. So I'm gonna run towards this corner right here. I'm gonna kind of nudge it with, and it'll pass me through. You want to make sure to check the inputs for that. So I'm jumping out, I'm not hovering, and it falls me through, because otherwise you're gonna hover and you can't unhover it, and you're gonna be locked in like a 2-minute loop until it lets you break out of the camera again. Then this is where you death warp, so you would normally jump here and hit that cutscene. Make sure that it's exhausted, and then you just do it a second time. This time you do want to hover. It's gonna make a small cutscene for you, but it's really short comparatively. So you just hover there. And then you're gonna try to aim towards the end here. I broke the camera a lot there. So breaking the camera is really important for a lot of these out of bounds. Because, yeah, if you don't exhaust that cutscene that you saw before that showed when I jumped into that slot, it'll keep coming up every time you try to go out of bounds here. Alright, and that just takes you back over here. The only orb you need to actually complete this level is the blue orb. The other orbs are not. That yellow orb over somewhere over the rainbow. I don't know where it is. Where'd it go? Anyway, only the blue orb's required. The other orb doesn't matter. So you just kind of go over here, throw it at this, and grab that purple lum if you can. I'm kind of facing the wrong way. I kind of want to face the other way. Otherwise, because yeah, now I'm like backwards. And then right at the end here, it's gonna give you control over your character again. I'm just gonna jump. Make sure to grab the lum on the side. Right here, move on. So, here upcoming is the last air swim out of bounds in the game. That's another cutscene skip. Anytime you see, like, my analog stick, I'm clicking my analog stick, I'm trying to... That's the enter button, and I use it to skip cutscenes. I think it's the enter button, right? Yeah, enter button. Alright, so then I'm just gonna jump here. I'm gonna make sure the camera's, like, really... like, as far, like, what is this? Facing this way. Like, I'm rotating the camera this way to make sure it's here. I'm gonna try to make sure that I throw my my lum out the second that I see Rayman's head gone. Now, I actually want to show this off properly because it's very difficult to really tell what you're doing here. When you go out of bounds, you want to kind of go left. Like, immediately left here. And make sure you break the camera so that you can see what's happening. So that you see that this out of bounds water here right behind this area. Now, right here, I'm gonna start flying upwards. Follow the left side of the moon here, and it'll boost you up high. You can grab these two lums. And then you can make it, you just kind of go over here and make it to the end. Make sure that you don't drop into that little box there too early, because if you're too high up, you'll mess the camera up and you'll probably get stuck in there. If you're low on lums, go up here, grab these two, and then hit this cage. Now, for this next one, you don't want to grab all three lums. You want to actually only grab the first two, because actually you're going to be too far away to hit this switch here. The switch is very, very picky with where you're, like, it requires you to be in a certain spot, rather than aiming at it. You want to just be holding strafe and be in a certain spot. So you don't really, it's probably the second most annoying switch in the game for that reason. And you just do this normally. You're gonna throw this keg at the purple pirate coming up. Just kind of hit the switch on the side that is required to open up the gate here. Move on. Another small strat coming up. Make sure that the camera is, like, not wonky here, by the way. Just kind of follow the lums. Make sure you're not too far left. You need this green lum, it's important. So I'm gonna hit this guy right there. I'm gonna death warp. That makes sure that the teensy's gone and the portal's spawned. It's one thing to note about that as well is that you don't wanna hover when you're doing that, because hovering is throwing out hover shots is slightly slower than just throwing them out when you're not hovering. So, also the teensy for that has to be on screen. If it's off screen when you break that cage, the cage will not break. So you want to make sure it's on screen. So now we have the Precipice. This is going to be one of the tougher stages to really avoid dying in, because this stage has a lot of, it's a tiny bit, it's my favorite stage of all time, by the way. I might want to say this is like my favorite level in video gaming. But basically what's going on here is every time you get these things break, it's going to roll you. So you want to make sure you don't press the jump button the second it's about to roll you, or else your input will get eaten. So I often try to make sure that I jump before it explodes. Also, holding down the straight button on these climbing sections is double the speed, even though it doesn't really look that fast. Double the speed of if you weren't holding strafe. Now for this next bullet, if you're on D-pad as opposed to analog, you're gonna actually be really slow. And this bomb will probably hit you. This walking shell, rather, I should say. I didn't want to jump there, by the way, at the end. This part's also especially perilous because it can explode them at bad times. Like, you want to jump, obviously, But you want to jump a little late for this, for example, or else you'll get hit by the top of that. Little skip here. Hit that from below. Skip that climbing part there. This is all movement here. Just got to make sure you get up as quick as you can. Now, I want to keep these fist power-ups here. That blue laser can't hurt you, by the way. It's only a wall. At least for when you, once the switch is broken, anyway. I've never actually tried to hit it while the switch was not active. So for this last section here, when these things explode under your feet, they actually just kind of let you move forward anyway. They'll auto jump for you. So you don't really have to work too hard. For this upcoming set of 2 walking shells, they're actually, you cannot explode them with your shots. So you just want to jump over them. You'll see coming up right here. But yeah, I'm keeping these gold fists on purpose. It's not as required as it will be in future parts to be helpful to you. The only time a gold fist is extremely useful is the last gold fist that we're going to be keeping for a pretty long time. Coming from Iron Mountains into the end of the prison ship. These lumps have an especially long range, but if you're below them, they're very likely not to be given to you. Now for this last bullet here, I drop down a little bit, because he'll knock you back from the side, and it'll give you this, like, boost to the left. Now, for this last jump coming up right here, this one right after this, you want to jump right as you land and hover a bit, because that last bridge will get you, if you're not paying attention. So this is why we had the gold fists. There's this pirate here, reskinned as a ninja, which is actually just a red pirate in terms of its movement. Now, if you're lucky, the cannonballs will hit these guys instead. You won't have to worry too much, but I'm not getting good luck. He's like not even moving. This isn't normal. Yeah, he's not really supposed to be standing there. Yeah, that's what he was supposed to do. Hold on, you know what? Let's redo it. How about that? Where am I, actually? Where is this? Okay, I know where I am now. Hold on. Let's do this again to show this off, because he wasn't supposed to do that. Alright, you hit him once, just walk away. Now, if you're lucky, you'll get decent cannonball RNG, and right where I'm, right here, he'll get hit on the way around. There he is. Got hit. And then just explode him. Grab the lums that were here earlier, and then drop down. Hit that cage, and move on. You should end up with exactly 49. Never get 50 in this game, except for marshes, because we go back through the back portal, and that doesn't make the bonus game happen. So, top of the world, screen 1. The most important thing to make sure of is that you get all of the lums on this. There's no real speeding up like there is in marshes for this. You just gotta practice making sure that you get all the lums here, because it'll be a massive boon to make sure you don't have to grab any extras. Just like any other auto-scroll, really. Just gotta remember the movements. So coming up right here is a pretty difficult one. I'm gonna try to hit it, like right. I'm gonna be right here, and I'm just gonna hold right. And that'll grab all the lums in that segment. It's very precise. But once you kind of get it, you're never gonna miss them. Unless you're not paying attention. The rest of these are very simple. Alright, so one thing I haven't talked about at all. So you have this button in this game where you read your mind, right? This button right here, which shows you information. You actually hold that button when you get hit by these barrel pirates with these electric shots, because otherwise as you'll see right here. Let's show it off. This is what you get normally, and it's a pretty long animation. You don't want that animation ever. So you just read your mind this right before you're gonna get electrocuted. So right here is a pretty good trick. We're gonna go run to the left here, and we're gonna jump and grab and jump like right here and then go backwards. This is gonna spawn a platform that we're gonna have to go on in a second. If you do this quick enough, you won't have to wait for this barrel pirate. If you think that you're gonna get attacked by the barrel pirate unless he turns around, and then you can wait on him a little bit, but you'd have to really get a feel for that. Make sure he's not like on your tail. But this platform here spawns early if you go towards that lum and move a little bit forward from there. You break open that door. I'll actually show what door that I hit. That door right there. If you break that door from like right here while facing towards it, you'll break it. And that's important because we're gonna actually just death warp here. And now the teensy that we just saved is gone, and the portal at the end of this level is spawned. That's also a move you can do. That's good RNG. I didn't want to grab the ledge right there, by the way. If he does that move, then you probably won't have to, you know, read your mind. If you're low on lums, there's a lum right here. It's not that far away. Then you just move on. Now we have the Sanctuary of Rock and Lava. This is an entirely movement-based level, and it's actually fairly difficult to do properly. So, right here, we have this pirate that can't do anything to us. It's simple, right? Like, this part's simple. This guy's just gonna stand there. He's never gonna shoot us unless we shot him first. We just got these zombie chickens to avoid. You know, taking the scenery. PC looks really good, by the way. Like the PC version of this game that I'm playing right now, if you put it on a high res. But yeah, so there's two ways you can do this. I don't normally do it this way, but you can hit this, do a light tap, and grab that, and it'll take you over here. Otherwise, if you're not feeling confident on that trick, you can just jump there and grab the lum there, and that works as well. That one's slightly slower, obviously, than hitting the barrel and getting over there quickly by like a second. Also, if you grab the green lum but you don't make the platform, you can just death warp and it'll take you up there. Ricochet off that will hit that cage. And that's faster than hitting it from down here and swiping it there. You could also do it on the second turtle there. I don't know if I can get back up. You could do it on the second turtle here as well. Like facing this way and hitting the side. You just kind of got to feel for it. Grab this one right here. Pretty important. It insta-kills this guy for you. If you're feeling low on lums, there's one right there you can grab. Oh, yeah, I'll just grab it because I said that I would grab it, maybe. There's an early cycle that you can do right here. If you hit it in the right spot, it'll hit that cage. I don't know if I want to show off the early cage or not. Or if I want to show off the normal one. I'm going to show off this one, actually. There you go. It's only worth doing it one time. Otherwise, you can do it on this ledge right here, like right about here, and then shooting this way. A little bit lower, maybe. And then you hit it right there about. That'll hit the cage for you. Then you just grab it on the way up, because it's got a very small draw range. You want to make sure these guys are dead. You want to make sure these guys are dead. They'll get in my way later. I'm trying my best to hit them, but anyway. If they're there, you want to just kill them. You want to wait until we're going to get these 3 lums here later. First, we're going to go over here. We're going to make this purple platform move forward first. Grabbing those will lose you time otherwise, because we're going to do something that makes it so that we don't lose any time grabbing those 3 lums. We're going to spawn this platform here. Grab these lums after making it move forward. These guys come out pretty early, so you want to make sure to hit them not too early, or else they're going to be in your way. They aren't immediately hittable once they pop out of the wall, but they can hurt you, so I'm going to wait until this purple platform is ahead of me and moving forward, and then I'll move forward. If I don't do this, it's very likely that it will despawn when I come up here to grab these lums. Once I grab them, I just gravitate towards the pit here and land back on the purple platform. Now, when it hits this fire, it's going to disappear, and you're going to have really hard reaction time there. Like, you need to be paying attention, because it doesn't give you any leeway. To make it over here. Sometimes you'll get, like, very high speed jumping off of those, but I'm not very consistent at it. In that case, you wouldn't have had to hover like I did. Same thing for walking off of this. Sometimes you get a lot of height, and you could grab these lums without hovering, but a lot of speed forward, I mean. I have Gold Fist. It only takes 1 hit to hit these cages with Gold Fist. Wait a little bit to hit that guy. Hit the switch. Move forward. Now, I have 3 fists. I'm going to take an intentional hit here on this lava. Just pass through it. It does a lot of damage to you. Obviously, you won't have this much health in the speedrun. I did use a cheat to make sure I had health for Axle Skip. Grab those. That cage over there is another cage that you have to make sure is on screen when you hit it. Otherwise, it will not work. So I kind of go to the right, and I start shooting towards this guy, and it should have worked a little better than it did. There it goes. Just What I wanted there was I wanted it to get hit a second time so that it would open up and I wouldn't have to wait so long. My move in here wasn't the best, but you get the idea. You go down there, you would have hit the cage, and then come back up the side and hover over. Now, if you were fast enough for this part, you'll avoid having to jump around the side on this guy. If you're on D-pad, this part is significantly harder. Jump up to see that cage, get it hit early. Whoa, 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 a camera. The camera wasn't playing nice there, but there are 2 lums on the sides of those pillars that you want. And that's rock and lava. Very athletic. Hard to make sure that you do perfectly. Now, beneath the sanctuary of rock and lava, there's actually like 6 cutscenes we skip here. I'm gonna climb up the side. I still want to keep this fist. This fist is important. Until the very end of this screen. So I don't want to get hit. Just kind of hovering low, making sure I don't hit the bottom. If I hit the bottom, I death warp, and that loses a lot of time. Death warping is when, you know, I turn into a bunch of particles and disappear and spawn back, but I don't actually game over. I'm not sure if walking or hovering is fast there, but for this part right here, I'm gonna make sure to be like right on the ceiling here to avoid this fire. If you're too low, you'll get hit by the fire. You can spam hover to make sure you don't fall into the lava there, but it's not easy. Now, I have a gold fist here, so I can just shoot it instantly. But assuming you don't have a gold fist, you can charge it up and explode it. Like so. Otherwise, it takes about 3 hits to break those walls there. Same things for the one that you saw in the previous level. If you don't have gold fist, they take 3 hits. Now, down here is a cage. You have to be pretty close to get the lums there. Now, because I have gold fists, I don't have to charge up to hit this thing. That's slightly quicker than having to charge up. I want to grab this lum, and then I want to get hit by those black guys. Those black caterpillars. Because it'll knock out your hover. Because you can't actually cancel out hover during this phase. So trying to land on the bottom is slow unless you get hit there. If you end up not killing all of those black lums off, you want to hit the side of the platform and then fall down, because that's slightly slower than just straight up hovering down all the way, if you can cancel out early on. One thing to note about this right here is that your movement is affected by whether or not you're holding forward or backwards. If you're holding back, you move slower. If you're holding forwards, you move faster. You want to hold strafe here so that as long as you're facing forwards with strafe, you're gonna move forward at a decent speed. Now, this 10 lum is slower than the 10 lum that you're gonna find in Tomb of the Ancients, but it is important to get if you are really, really low on lums. Normally, you would get about 36 lums in this stage, and 26 lums in the next stage. The next stage is the last one we need, so this is that lum over there. You would go towards that if you actually, hold on. So I die, and it would be faster to avoid that lum over to the right there if you do end up going for those 10 lums. Now, I'm gonna just quickly, like, if you don't get that 10 lum, you're just gonna go straight right here. You would grab this lum on the side. You wouldn't go that way, and you just go this way. And grab that lum. this level that I'm playing right now is the one that requires you to have 475 lums to complete. It's probably one of the less, like, necessarily, like, perilous ones that you need to get lums for. But the next one, the 550, is particularly lum dry. Now for Fouch, you just kind of want to make sure you just play this fight normally. If you actually go too fast here, you'll end up hitting the stalactite before he can actually get hit by it. So you just want to just be normal about it. Now, when doing this, you want to just fall in the pit and death warp, because that takes us to a lum that's slightly faster on the other side. Then you just hit it after bouncing once, but I think I was too far away, actually. It didn't let me grab it. Then you just fall down the right side and hold right, and it'll take you over here. Skip the cutscenes. And that's it. So normally I grabbed the extra 10 lums, so I got 46 there. I'm gonna try, when I hold A and B, I'm actually gonna go to the side there, because otherwise you're gonna grab the corner, and you don't want to grab the corner. You can hit this switch from the, like, right to the side here. Like, right there. You would be able to hit the switch without falling down. Now, this spider is actually going to help us out a little bit. For some reason, it's easier to hit this switch for me when I'm in like invincibility frames. But I'm not going to drop down there. I'm going to come up here. I'm going to go backwards, and I'm going to fail it because of that. Hold on. All right, and then I hit the switch from right there. It has to be on screen, or else that won't work. Now, if you're dry on lums, there's a couple of lums in this roundabout, but they're pretty slow, actually. Now, for this thing, just hit that guy because he can grab you. I'm gonna make the camera turn a little bit to hit that switch, and then I'm gonna death warp here to get out of here early. You don't want to grab that green lum right there, to the right there. Otherwise, you can't death warp here and end up back. Now, there is a switch over to the left here that you can also grab. Right over there. You'd have to do some stuff, and there's a pretty deadly spider over there, I believe, somewhere. If you could, I don't think you could see it from here. The draw distance probably isn't good enough. But we're not going to grab that switch. We're going to do something called Toon Jump. Break these guys. Now, when you do this, you want to make sure that you jump off of this skeleton platform at the last second. So, like, right here, and then do a light tap hover, and it'll make it over. Even though I'm in this water, if you do it properly, it'll work. If you do a hard tap, even though I'm in the water, you'll definitely die, even though, like, this should not work right where I am. Alternatively, you'll end up right here. Either one, as long as you make it over. It's not that hard. I'm going to show it off again. Just doing it quickly. I'm going to show off now, actually. I'm going to show off hard tapping it. I'm going to show off hard tap, like what it looks like. Hard tap. And you can see I get, like, no height and I don't make it. So don't hard tap. It's bad. Just a light tap. Make it over. Make sure not to be too close to the corners while dropping down here, or else it'll auto grab. And then for this cogwheel right here, you want to make sure that you're not, like, doing them too often. Like, you don't spam it, or else the auto-targeting will get knocked out. Like, I'll show off what I mean. So, if I just spam it like I'm about to do, you'll notice that all of those lums there didn't do anything. Because if you have too many out at once, it won't work. So you just want to do them slowly. Oopsies. That was an accident. Like, if you throw too many lums out at once, the others will disappear earlier. That's a mechanic that you kind of need to know. Now, for this guy, you're just going to charge it up and then throw it. And you can jump immediately, and you'll have this speed for some reason, and it'll take you over there when you're going off of that barrel and this next barrel, but no other barrels, really. Very strange game physics there. So, as long as you do this quickly, you're not going to get hit by this laser as long as you jump over it. Like, even though the depth perception is awful, if you just do that quickly, you'll never get hit by that laser. Yeah, you can just jump here, make it over. And then we're gonna actually use this barrel and make it come all the way over here with us, and then it'll teleport us quickly. There is another path you would go in 100%, but we don't go that way because we don't need to. It's slow. So we hit this switch early on. You have to jump for these lums here. But you do not have to jump for these two. These two lums here, even though they're way above you, they'll grab it anyway. Now, there are two ways to do this fight. One way is that you just kind of draw it towards you here. Draw it towards you and then walk back and jump. Forward, walk back, jump. And then you would shoot it. The other way is if you stand right here and you just face towards the ground like this, it'll never throw it at you, I think, is something like that. Alright, so we're back here. We're back at the pirate part. I'm gonna just kind of show off what I mean with this. Just face down. That didn't work. I lied. I don't actually know how to do it. So I've busted the myth that I gave misinformation, because I did. Alright, so anyway, here we are. We're going up here. We go around. We grab this. We move forward, and then we move back. And we're going to go around this way, and he's going to turn around. And we're going to throw it. And we're going to shoot this. Oh, apparently you have to face... Okay. You have to face it face down before he spawns in at all. Okay. That's why it didn't work out. Anyway, shoot that switch. And so when you skip this cutscene, Clark, you fight him by throwing the switch on the right, making him attack you but failing, and then shooting the others. And we're going to charge up our fist. And when he goes over, I'm going to just shoot it. Shoot his little thinger. And it works. And there we go. Moving on. So now we have Iron Mountains. This level is pretty tough when you first start out. Now, there are a couple ways you can do this. I'm going to show off 2 ways you can do this, potentially. So the first way, I've seen Lagpoo do it. So, he grabs this lum, comes over here, tries to hit this switch. Then he grabs this lum again, comes over here and hits that switch. And then it's all, then you can go down. As you can see, there's no more electric. The other beginner way to do this is to run over here. This way's slightly faster. Hit this switch. Oops. Whoopsies. So one thing to note about this platform here is that no matter what, you're kind of running against it. So if you're not moving, it still makes you move. So you have to be wary of that. So hit that switch, and then you just jump through like this. That's the other way to do it. That's the way I do it. Hold on. So you would normally hit this guy, then jump, and it would shoot stuff at you. Now we're gonna hit this guy, jump over him, and make sure that he doesn't do anything funny while he's doing that. If you get hit by that drill as he comes up, you'll actually instantly die. You don't want that to happen. If you move through here properly, that barrel will not hit you. Hit that switch, move on before he hits you. Although I failed by like the last second there. The cannon hit me. The barrel. It's okay though, having 2 fists here is still fine. We need it for the last level in the second to last section in the next level. You want to kill that guy off because he can do some pretty tough stuff and he'll knock you into the water. So if you charge up, throw it the second he starts aiming towards you. It's a decent visual cue. So now we're on a blimp, and it's really cool. I like blimps, they're very nice and stuff. But we gotta get off of it. We gotta go free some guys. Which we're actually not gonna free any guys. But it's important to make sure you get this movement or you're gonna miss some cycles here. This thing is kinda like, does whatever, but jump up here while you're sliding down. Make sure to do a very small tap there, because if you do too high a tap, you'll get knocked out. Knocked into the pit there. And now do a high jump and a light tap, and it'll get over the side of that right there. See, I was a bit slow, so I missed getting the early cycle on that crate. And then you just do... Oh, I should probably explain it. Crap. Alright. So, what I'm about to do here is, when I'm doing this part here, I'm gonna accelerate right at this red, and then I'm gonna wait a little bit. The second that I see it deaccelerates, I hold left, and it'll take me over to the side here, out of bounds. And you could just move on. I didn't accelerate there because I was just talking, but... And you gotta do this really precise jump there. And I don't have the gold fists anymore. But yeah, as you can see, it just takes you over here. You can just move on. This is a pretty precise jump at the end here. So you want to make sure that you're accelerating so that you can do it well, like, have a lighter chance, like, it's a little bit easier if you're accelerating when you jump there. The second one is done automatically by the cutscene, so you don't have to worry about that, but you have to do the first one. That ring over there that I just hit, you have to move it back a little bit compared to where the cutscene leaves you. Because you won't grab it in the right spot, or you won't grab it at all. Now, this section here is the slowest section in the game. There's not really much to talk about, but there will be a couple points where I will tell you what to do. This is a beginner tutorial. Anyway, now the name of the game for this is to just make sure you don't hit the walls, because if you hit the walls, it'll probably move you back a little bit. Just kind of move up, because the rubble will get you in the way. The depth perception on that post to the left is a bit off, so you just want to assume the worst, really. You shoot these guys. If you're actually too far back, it won't work. You won't be able to hit them, but it doesn't really make much of a difference to spam it. You'll eventually auto-target. So as you can see, I turned left there. That's all we're going to do until we get the last set of teensies, is we're going to just keep turning left at any point. There's only 2 times, actually, we need to turn. To get all the teensies. I mean, not the teensies, the baby glow boxes. The baby glow boxes. As I said, the rubble gets in the way. I want to move up a bit. So basically, you just have to remember, make 2 lefts. Just keep going left until you make it to this dead end here. You're going to see the dead end in a second. Now, as you can see here, this part right in front of us ends in a dead end, so we're actually just going to straight up turn our whole ship around right now. We don't need to go all the way to the dead end to turn it around. The ship gets iframes whenever it hits the side of a wall and stuff, so we could just do this. I recommend not doing this with your own boats in real life. They'll probably break. But yeah, just turn it around and go back. And then you'll just keep going straight from here, past these 2 posts with this pirate symbol, and it's gonna take us back to the beginning where we need to give Aglet her babies, her little glow box babies. Now, if you go too high here, there's actually a post that you probably would forget about. So you just want to make sure that you don't go too high. But if you're too low at the end here, if you're in the water, you're gonna get stuck and you won't be able to move. So you want to be at least above the water when coming back. This level doesn't require, like, once you get into the Iron Mountains, you no longer need lums. So now we're at the prison ship. I'm actually gonna grab a gold fist in this next level just to show off what you would do if you did not die or lose all your gold fists like I did. Just to make sure to show it off. I'm not sure I do it 100% correctly, but it's the way I know. Jumping is, as always, on slides is fast. You want to jump. But be wary that if you aren't used to doing this, you're more than likely to fall in the pit for like any reason. The game loves to make it hard for you to move even though you're holding buttons. If you see my input display, it's not being very friendly. Slides aren't particularly friendly in this game. So right about here, you can actually jump right here and die, so don't do that. That's just something to be wary of. Like, see, I can move my stick around, but it doesn't give you much movement. So you kind of want to make sure that you're not, like, being too risky with your movement. Because if you're being too risky, you face the liability that the control stick will not let you properly move where you want to go, where you think you want to go. You can hit this side here and it'll just kind of put you in the right direction there. You can do a low hop there, but you don't want to jump at all right here because you actually want to go a decent amount slow, hold strafe and shoot this, and then don't do much there, hold strafe and shoot that one. That last switch right there is the most difficult switch in the game, so you want to make sure that you're not doing anything but being straight, going not too fast, and holding strafe while being largely neutral with your analog stick. Now I'm going to grab this fist over here, and I'm going to show off what you would do in starting this screen had you not done what I just lost my fists on the earlier level. So I come around the side, probably more like this. I will drop down, hit him early on. I will try to hit him early on. Now, as long as you're in this spot that I'm in, it'll always auto-target for you. And then when falling down, you can just do that and it'll go yeah for you. But if you immediately drop down, you won't get that yeah fanfare and you'll die early. And you don't want that because you need the yeah. And that if you fail that, it'll make you do the whole pirate fight over. Actually, when I think about it, I didn't need to hit, like, when I was getting attacked by the pirate on when he first came down, generally, the fastest you can do that fight is in 3 cycles. Having a gold fist triples your damage, and charging up your fist triples your damage, so you get a really high multiplication count when you charge up a golden fist. If you do not have that golden fist, it will take you 5 charge shots. For this part here, you want to make sure that you're always moving. If you're always moving, these lasers will not hit you. Ever. It doesn't matter if you get lums on here, you won't lose time because at the end of the screen does not give you a bonus game or show off your lum count at all. Now for the final boss here, you just kind of go forward to the right there, and then when you feel like you're facing him dead on, you just throw it out. You just throw out those fists. So I'm just holding right here and then throwing it out. I'm actually too far right there, so he actually didn't. He gave me a bad pattern, but there. Now, the reason why I'm at the back here is because if you do not stand in the back while doing those shots, he'll actually do a stop move, and that's slow. That's an extra move that he does before he throws out those bombs. Now, for here, as you can see, there's a gold fist here. There isn't always a gold fist there. It's a 50-50 shot, as you can see, whether or not it's on this side or if it's on this side. You can always kill yourself a lot to see if it'll spawn back here. Eventually, it'll stop saving you time doing this. But it's a 50-50 chance. So, it's up to you if you want to save that time or not save that time. If you want to either go for this fist or not. Now, at first, you shoot these two. And then I'm going to shoot two of them, but I'm going to keep one more, like, as you can see. I'm going to keep one of those gold shots right here. And I'm going to hold A and B going into the ceiling here. If I hold A and B here, you'll actually find a secret. Well, I'll explain it to you again in one moment. I actually messed it up trying to, when I closed the minimization out there. When I minimized it, it gave me an auto shot, I think. Didn't work. Alright, so let's show it off again. Shoot twice. Shoot twice, go up. Hold down B while and then move up. Make sure once you do the fourth shot on Razorbeard that you hold down A after doing that, once doing that shot instead of after, because then you'll shoot out a fifth one. When you get to the end of this corridor here, you'll get an infinite shot power-up. This will make the fight extremely trivial. And you just keep kind of like turning around there, and that'll be the end of this game. Completed the game. Now, for tutorial purposes, this has been 2 hours and 6 minutes long. My PB for this game is 1 hour, 23 minutes, and 37 seconds. This game is pretty short with no movies. Completing this game is very fun. The speedrun is one of my favorites. I very much have fun doing this, even though, you know, it doesn't have much movement tech to it, which isn't that bad. Like, it's not that bad, come on. And, like, all the ricocheting and trying to get everything done quick and the out of bounds, it's a really fun speedrun. With current strats, there isn't a lot of, like, weird PC stuff that goes on with it, where, like, you switch resolutions and stuff. Like, at best, we have that one point in the run where we use lag, which is, it's not that bad. There's no real, like, real save and quit. And, you know what? I enjoy it. So, I hope this tutorial helped everyone out to learn the speedrun. And I hope that you will, once learning this, try out the run. Obviously, as I've said before, setting this up is pretty difficult, so I recommend checking out the tutorial on speedrun.com for Rayman 2 in the resources. The guide, actually, it's in guides. And if you have any more questions, come join the Rayman Discord. You could find the Rayman Discord link on any of the Rayman speedrun pages. So check us out and have a good one.